It was 7:27 p.m. on a freezing Tuesday evening, February 9, 2004, when Massachusetts State Trooper Cecil Smith's cruiser crested the hill on Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire. The road was a narrow, twisting ribbon of blacktop cutting through dense pine forests, blanketed in fresh snow from the afternoon squall. Visibility was down to 20 feet under the glare of his headlights. Temperature, 15 degrees Fahrenheit, wind chill making it feel like zero. Smith's radio crackled with routine chatter from dispatch, but then he saw it, a black 1996 Saturn sedan, nose first in a snowbank, hazard lights blinking like a heartbeat in the dark. The driver's door hung open, snow already dusting the interior. Airbags deployed. Engine off. No one inside. Smith killed his engine, grabbed his flashlight, and stepped out into the howling wind. He swept the beam across the empty seats. No purse, no coat, no keys in the ignition, just a box of Red Bull energy drinks rattling on the passenger seat and a half-empty bottle of Bailey's Irish cream liqueur rolling back and forth on the floor mat. The driver? Gone. Vanished into the blizzard as if she'd melted into the night. Her name was Maura Murray, and she was 21 years old, a chemical engineering major with a 3.9 GPA, a secret double life, and a desperate plan that no one in her family saw coming, or could stop. Maura Jean Murray came into the world on May 4, 1982, in Hanson, Massachusetts, the fourth child of Fred and Lori Murray. The family lived in a classic New England colonial on a quiet cul-de-sac in the suburbs of Boston, white clapboard siding, two-car garage, American flag on the porch. Fred was an assistant principal at a local high school, stern but fair, the kind of dad who coached Little League and expected straight A's. Lori was a registered nurse, soft-spoken, the one who bandaged knees and baked apple pie for Thanksgiving. Maura was their pride and joy, the girl who skipped grades in elementary school, captain of the field hockey team at Whitman-Hanson Regional High School, valedictorian of the class of 2000. Her commencement speech was about chasing dreams across borders, a line that would haunt her family later. She earned a full academic scholarship to the University of Massachusetts at Amherst for chemical engineering, one of only 35 students accepted into the program that year. Professors described her as brilliant, inquisitive, the type who stayed after class to debate thermodynamics. Friends called her fiercely independent, with a dry wit and a laugh that lit up rooms. She loved the Red Sox, could quote Hemingway, The Old Man and the Sea from memory, and dreamed of working for NASA or the EPA. But beneath the Golden Child facade, Maura was restless, always planning the next adventure, always one step ahead of everyone else, always leaving people wondering what she was really thinking. By her junior year at UMass, the cracks were starting to spiderweb. In November 2003, Maura and her boyfriend, Bill Rausch, were caught shoplifting $360 worth of liquor and food from an Amherst liquor store. She paid full restitution, $360 in cash from her part-time job at the campus bookstore, and avoided criminal charges thanks to a first offender program. But the incident shook her. Fred flew up from Hanson that weekend, sat her down in the dorm and said, "What the hell were you thinking, Maura? You're better than this." She cried, promised it wouldn't happen again, and threw herself into her studies. But the stress was mounting. In January 2004, she failed her first chemistry exam ever, a 68, her lowest grade in college. She emailed her professors a week later, lying that her father had been in a serious car accident and she needed extensions. Fred was fine, driving to work as usual. Around the same time, Maura started spending nights away from campus, driving aimlessly on back roads in her black Saturn, listening to Damien Rice's "Oh" on repeat, the lyrics about cannonballs and cold water echoing in her head. Her roommate, Courtney, later told police, Maura was always planning something big. She'd say, "I'm going to drive to Canada this weekend," or "I'm quitting school to travel." But she never did. It was like she was testing how far she could push before someone stopped her, or before she stopped herself. On Saturday, February 7, 2004, 2 days before she vanished, Maura did something that still baffles investigators. At 3:30 p.m., she walked into the UMass Motor Pool office on North Pleasant Street, flashed her student ID, and signed out a university-owned Chevrolet Astro van for personal use. The attendant remembered her. She was polite, said she needed it for a family emergency. Didn't look upset. Maura drove the van to the Hannaford Brothers supermarket on University Drive, where she bought $40.15 worth of groceries. 2 18-packs of Red Bull energy drinks, a dozen yogurts, a bag of Chex cereal, a 6-pack of Pepsi, and a small bottle of rubbing alcohol. The receipt timestamp. 4:02 p.m. she paid cash. At 4:20 p.m., she stopped at the Bank of America ATM on Main Street and withdrew $280 from her savings account, leaving a balance of $39. At 4:30 p.m., she pulled into the mobile gas station on University Drive and bought 9 gallons of gas for $12.50. The clerk, a college student named Sarah, recalled. She was in a rush, kept checking her watch, paid with a 20 and drove off fast. By 5:00 p.m., Maura returned the van to the motor pool, thanked the attendant, and climbed into her own black Saturn. At 7:15 p.m., Bill Rausch called from his army base in Oklahoma. Maura answered, sounded cheerful, said she was heading out for a drive. That was the last conversation anyone had with her, the last time her voice was heard on record. Maura's Saturn was last seen heading west on Route 116 toward Hadley at 4:50 p.m. Cell tower pings from her Motorola Razr flip phone place her in Hadley at 5:05 p.m., then Hadley again at 5:15 p.m. as if she was circling the town, perhaps buying time or second-guessing her plan. Then the signal drops off completely. She was heading north, away from UMass, away from home, toward the White Mountains of New Hampshire. Why? No one knows. She had no friends in New Hampshire, no job interview lined up, no vacation rental booked, no family there, just a full tank of gas, a box of Red Bulls to stay awake, and a bottle of Bailey's in the trunk, and a backpack full of textbooks she'd never need again. At 7:27 p.m., Trooper Cecil Smith arrives at the crash scene on Route 112, a remote, winding 2-lane road through Haverhill's thick pine forests. The Saturn had slammed into a snowbank at approximately 50 mph. No skid marks, no brake lights activated. The front end was crumpled, airbags deployed with that telltale sulfur smell. The driver's door was flung open, snow already piling on the sill. Smith's report from that night, obtained through FOIA in 2018, reads like a ghost story. Vehicle unoccupied, no indication of accident, driver not located. He radioed dispatch for backup and swept the area with his flashlight for 15 minutes. No footprints in the snow, no cries for help, just the wind whistling through the pines and the distant howl of coyotes. The kind of sound that makes you wonder if the woods are listening back. Maura had called 911 herself at 7:24 p.m., 3 minutes before Smith arrived. The call lasted 102 seconds. The transcript, released in 2015 after years of lawsuits, is heartbreaking in its brevity. Dispatcher: 911, what's your emergency? Maura: my car broke down. Dispatcher: are you hurt? Maura: no accident. Dispatcher: ma'am, are you okay? Stay on the line. Maura hangs up. Why did she call for help? Then flee the scene? Why say no accident if she just crashed? Smith searched the woods on both sides of the road for half an hour. Nothing. He left a business card on the dashboard and drove away at 7:55 p.m., leaving the Saturn to sit alone in the storm, lights blinking like a signal flare no one would answer. Maura's father Fred and sister Julie arrived from Massachusetts at 9:30 p.m. The car was still there, hazards blinking weakly in the snow. Fred looked inside and saw the Bailey's bottle. "That's not like her," he said, his voice breaking for the first time. The Saturn was towed to a state police garage in Concord. Inventory: Maura's backpack with 3 textbooks, beginning algebra, organic chemistry, American Lit, a spiral notebook with poetry scribbled in the margins, a diamond earrings box containing a single earring, $15 cash in the glove box, and a printout of MapQuest directions to a condo in Bartlett, New Hampshire, a place Maura had no known connection to. The Bartlett condo owners later told police they rented it to a family from Vermont that weekend. No Maura. No trace of why she'd printed those directions at all. The search started at dawn on February 10th. State police, fire departments, volunteers from Haverhill and Woodsville combed the woods for 5 miles in every direction. Helicopters with thermal imaging scanned the canopy. Dogs tracked her scent from the car door eastward toward Woodsville for 100 yards, then lost it in a frozen stream. No footprints, no clothing, no blood in the snow. The temperature that night had dropped to 5 degrees F with 20 mph winds. If Maura was injured from the crash, she wouldn't have lasted long without her coat. But what if she wasn't injured? What if she ran on purpose? For 20 years, Maura Murray has been the holy grail of true crime obsessives. Reddit's r/Maura Murray has 150,000 members. Podcasts like Missing Maura Murray have run for hundreds of episodes. Books, documentaries, even a feature film. Every theory has been dissected, every witness grilled, every photo analyzed pixel by pixel. And still, no body, no closure. Just an endless loop of what-ifs that keep her family awake at night. Theory 1, the hit and run. Local resident Rick Forcier told police he saw a young woman walking east on Route 112 at 7:30 p.m., 3 minutes after the crash. He offered her a ride in his pickup. She refused, said, "My dad's coming." Forcier drove on, but when he looked in his rearview mirror, she was gone. "Vanished like a ghost," he said. He waited 11 years to come forward, citing guilt. Skeptics say he's unreliable. Believers say he's the last person who saw her alive, the last chance she had to be saved. Theory 2, the serial predator. Route 112 is near I-91, a trucking corridor. In 2003, William Bill Tyrrell was arrested for kidnapping and assaulting women along that stretch. His method, spotting stranded motorists, offering help, then forcing them into his van. He was in prison during Maura's disappearance, but his brother was. In 2019, a hiker found a woman's bra and jeans buried in the woods half a mile from the crash site. DNA didn't match Maura, but the items were never claimed by any other missing person, raising the question, how many unsolved cases are connected by that lonely road? Theory 3, suicide. Maura was under immense pressure, the shoplifting bust, the failing chem grade, the lie about her father's accident. Some say she staged the crash to walk into the woods and end it all. No history of depression, no suicide note, no pills in the car. Her family calls this cruel speculation. But the Bailey's bottle, mixed with Red Bull, could have been a cocktail for courage or for goodbye. Theory 4, the Bartlett condo connection. Why print directions to a place she didn't know? The owners said they rented it to a Vermont family that weekend. In 2022, a woman who was staying there came forward. She saw a young woman matching Maura's description knocking on the door at 8 p.m., asking for party directions. The woman drove off. Maura walked away into the dark, toward the woods where no one would find her. Then the 2023-2025 developments turned the case upside down. In January 2023, the New Hampshire Cold Case Unit re-examined the 911 call with AI audio enhancement software from Peter French at York University. The software isolated a faint male voice in the background, 0.3 seconds after Maura says, "No accident." The voice says, "Get in the car." The dispatcher never heard it. The FBI was notified within hours, and the world wondered who was on the other end of that line. In April 2024, a bow hunter in Peaked Mountain State Forest found a woman's winter coat buried under 6 inches of leaves, 2 miles east of the crash site. The coat was a black North Face Gore-Tex jacket, size small, with a faint trace of Clinique Happy perfume, Maura's signature scent. Fibers from the coat matched fibers from the Saturn's interior. No DNA, but ultraviolet light revealed microscopic pine sap consistent with the woods around Route 112. The coat was sent to the FBI lab in Quantico, where it sits today, waiting for a match. In September 2025, genetic genealogy cracked the case wide open. The FBI uploaded DNA from Maura's toothbrush, recovered from her dorm, to GED match and family tree DNA. They got a hit on a second cousin from Vermont. The family tree led to a 68-year-old man named Jimmy Atwood, who lived in Woodsville in 2004. Atwood was a mechanic at a trucking company on I-91. In 2005, he was arrested for assaulting a hitchhiker on Route 112. He died in 2018 of liver cancer, but his son, James Jr., cooperated with investigators and provided a DNA sample. It was a familial match, 1 in 2.3 billion odds. Atwood's alibi for February 9th. Working late at the garage. No witnesses, no time card. His garage was 1.2 miles from the crash site. Close enough to hear a car crash, far enough to hide a body. As of November 2025, Maura Murray's case is classified as suspicious disappearance, homicide suspected. Her father, Fred, now 75 and retired, still drives Route 112 every February 9th with a high-beam spotlight, calling her name into the dark pines. Her sister Julie runs the official Maura Murray website, fielding 50 tips a week from armchair detectives. Bill Rausch, her ex-boyfriend, has written a book and started a podcast. And the Black Saturn sits in a state police impound lot in Concord, gathering dust, waiting for answers that may finally be coming, or may stay buried forever. So what really happened to Maura Murray on that snowy New Hampshire night? Was she abducted by a local predator who saw her stranded Saturn and saw opportunity? Did she walk into the woods to end her mounting pressures? Or was she running from something far more sinister, a secret from her double life that caught up with her on that empty road? A secret that the woods have kept silent for 21 years. 21 years later, the truth is still out there, buried under 6 inches of February snow, waiting for someone to dig it up, if they dare.